No. Hello. Welcome to Meditation Nerd. My avatar's doing some funny things with her hand, which stole my attention. There seems to be a bit of a delay. Oh no, there goes the weird hand movement. Okay, great. Um, I hope you're doing well. I'm glad you're here. So we are continuing with a naked pause, which is intended to give us a moment to sit with our practice, sometimes as a whole, sometimes in different parts, just to see where it's showing up, if it's showing up, where the places are that we feel it's not showing up. This way we can build it into the meditative process as a necessary step to check in with how we're doing, if there are any shifts or changes that we need to make, anything we need to pay attention to, let go of, etc. So today we're going to be focusing on where the gaps are, where we feel that things are not showing up for us, because that is also important. So go ahead and soften your gaze or close your eyes, whichever feels more appropriate. And then we're just going to ground here a little bit. I don't feel like doing a normal or traditional, I guess I should say, tune in. I just want to use my breath to kind of set the boundary for this check in. Feel free to tune in traditionally if you prefer, that's perfectly fine. Anyone that's coming with me, go ahead and inhale nice and deep, exhale. Just going to take a couple more breaths here to really ground in, set the tone. This is our practice time. Inhale, exhale. Feel the grounding beneath you, however that shows up, whether it's a cushion, a chair, the floor. Inhale, exhale. Okay, perfect. And then from this place, I want you to just bring to mind a recent moment, excuse me, where you intended to be present, you intended to be calm, you intended to be compassionate. And what happened instead was either the opposite or nothing. This is about where the meditative self felt totally absent. So I want you to think about a time where this happened. Could have been today, could have been this week. Perhaps it was just a practice that you still reflect on and question why. Why didn't I show up? Why was my mind going crazy? Why could I not sit still, etc. And with this, I just want you to know or how this shows up in your body. Yep, we're always going to bring it back to the somatic experience, at least for the next little bit, because this is important from my humble perspective, of course. So don't get lost in the story. Just bring up what happened and then notice what takes place in the body. Mine currently is showing up as a ton of resistance. It's like I'm struggling to just get myself to the mat or to a meditative position. And that feels like a heavy body. It feels like a sluggish mind. It feels very lethargic for me with my current situation. And then another aspect I want you to ask yourself is, how does not showing up feel? For me, it's like anxiety in my chest. There's a very distinct pressure from the sides, and then there's this little ball of anxiety that feels very acidic that just kind of swirls around in my heart. And then it restricts my breathing. It's hard to breathe when I tell myself I'm not showing up or when it's a struggle to show up. And again, this isn't about the story. This is about the somatic experience. This is so we can get to know our communication style with our body. Now, before we move into the more expansive area here, where we ask ourselves what the best path forward is, I do want to call out a couple of things real quick. This exercise does not point to failure and it does not point to a broken practice. These gaps are just as important as any other part of our practice, whether it's elevation, it's joy, it's calm, it's peace, it's clear mind, it's productivity, it's all of those awesome parts, right? That feel more elevating. These parts where there are gaps are equally important. They are also telling us where to move. They're telling us where either more is needed or a shift is needed or a place where we're not ready to step into yet. So these are just as important, okay? And it is crucial that we're aware of these areas, right? Because, like I say, this could be a boundary where it's like, okay, we're not ready to step into this yet, so just ease up here. It could be maybe mantras aren't as effective for you, but you really like the EFT tapping, right? Maybe there are certain areas where such as tapping for me is more effective when I'm pairing it with a mantra and it's because I'm dealing with something that's deeper that I can't quite access. I am ready to access it, it's just I need some extra help. So that's when I typically will use EFT to add that extra layer of support for my nervous system to let it know it's safe that we're stepping into this, right? And that took time to build up, and this is how I did it, was with somatic practice. It was looking at the gaps. It was going, okay, why isn't it working here? What is happening in this space? Whether it's numbness, it's the for me the acidic anxiety or the lethargy, right? That's a big one for me too. My mind just goes really sluggish, and it's like I struggle just to think, and that translates to a heavy body and a sleepy body. So that's why I want to keep bringing us back to these gaps to where meditation isn't showing up the way we want it to or we feel it could, right? Because this is how we find out what else we can be doing or what shifts we need to make. We're learning how, again, the body's communicating with us. So that's equally as important. Okay, now now we have kind of an overview of some of the areas where we either felt numbed out, we felt lethargic, there was, it just didn't feel like we could step into the meditative self. And now we're more aware of how that's showing up in our bodies. Okay, now I want you to just inhale and then let that go. And then I want you to take a couple of breaths here until you feel grounded in the moment, right? You feel as stable and grounded and as open in this moment as you can. Okay. I'm going to need a couple of breaths on that one. Okay, I'm going to take one more. Okay. Now I want you to just ask yourself and notice when your body responds. Okay. So when your mind comes up with the answer, I want you to heed the advice of your body this time. So, what does my meditative practice need? Or what you can adapt this to a phrasing that feels more appropriate to you. Okay, I always want you to adapt this to where you are or to what resonates and aligns with you. Okay, I'm just kind of giving a generalization here. With the gaps that I'm working with the resistance that I have, how can I adapt my meditative practice to help or support? Okay, so once you ask a question, I want you to just sit and breathe for a few breaths and see what comes up, okay? And something else I want to call out here is if there's a thought that comes up. So often the thoughts that I'll throw out there to see how it feels is give up my meditative practice, let go of meditation as a whole. And I notice how this feels in my body. It's not because I'm really prepared to do that. I don't want to give up meditation. That's not really something I'm open to. It is something that I feel is important that I'm asking myself to see how my body responds, right? Because this could be a case where I'm clinging to the meditative practice out of fear of letting it go. So that's why I put that into rotation to see how the body responds, right? What's the somatic experience when I say that? So if you have a thought like that that comes up, that's okay. Just notice how it shows up somatically, because that's the point here. Okay, for mine, it seems that I need to ease up a little bit. I do have quite a few medications going, and that seems pretty heavy. Okay, and I wanted this to be a shorter naked pause. We're already at a little over 12 minutes, so a couple more breaths here. And don't panic or feel stressed if nothing came up yet. You may need a moment for this to kind of swirl around before anything will come or shout out, right? One more breath, inhale, exhale. And then just to close, I'm going to say Sat Nam, just as a way to set the boundary that this session is over. And there's something else I was going to say, and now I've forgotten what that was. Um, so I wanted to speak to this because, as I said, I said in another live, I have been reading, or I just finished the trauma sensitive mindfulness, and the author of that was speaking about a concept of the window of tolerance. And this is a little bit, this is speaking more to that experience. I'm going to do a separate live tomorrow speaking more in depth about it. I just wanted, again, to reiterate that it's okay when you feel like your meditative practice isn't showing up the way you wanted it to. That's a perfect time to reflect on why, how, what needs to change, does it need to change, is it a bad day, is it the meditative modality, is it the style? And it's good to question that. It's good to keep checking in with yourself to ensure that you are practicing in a way that is aligned with where you are, right? And that it's supportive of where you are. It's not too much, it's not too little, it's aligned with your support. So I was hoping that what I was going to say would pop back up, and it's not going to. Okay, no, it's gone. All right, well, hopefully it'll come back to me tomorrow if it's needed. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found this helpful. Oh, it was okay. Um, if you didn't get a direct answer or you didn't really get one that you felt was super helpful, let the question circulate within you for a bit. Sometimes we need to sit with the question to really show that it can come through, that the body is supported and that it can respond, right? It's just like any other relationship that we build. It takes time, it takes trust. So please don't stress out if you didn't get an answer right away, or if it felt like it was more of a whisper or a suggestion and you'd like a little more. ask that, or let yourself know and then wait. Give it the space to actually come up and out, right? So that's what I wanted to say. Just know that it will come. Give it the space to. So thank you again for joining me. I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you next time.